They say New Year's meant champagne and roast beef. But during the Depression, it was something else entirely. Something that cost almost nothing. Picture this. It's December 1932. Bank account empty. Pantry nearly bare. But New Year's Day still coming, still demanding hope when hope felt impossible. New Year's wasn't about celebration. It was about survival meeting superstition. Luck cooked into beans. Prosperity boiled into cabbage. Hope fried from yesterday's mush. Today, I'm taking you back. When New Year's dinner wasn't about abundance. It was about making something from nothing. About believing next year had to be better. Stay with me. These 20 forgotten meals tell Depression families' real story. When a pot of beans meant more than food, it meant faith. Number 1. Black-eyed peas with ham hock, 1 ham hock, 1 pound of peas. December 1933, when that single bone fed 8 people New Year's dinner and meant coins coming all year long. Sarah Mitchell soaked black-eyed peas overnight in cold water. Next morning, she placed 1 precious ham hock in her largest pot, covered it with water, brought it to boil. She added the drained peas, chopped onion, bay leaf, black pepper. Simmered it 3 hours, that ham hock releasing every bit of flavor into water turning golden brown. During Depression's worst years, when meat disappeared from most tables, 1 ham hock became New Year's miracle. Butchers sold them cheap. Bones most people overlooked. Families knew their value. That pot simmered, peas softening, absorbing smoky richness. She pulled the ham hock out, stripped every shred of meat from bone, returned it to pot. Nothing wasted. Sarah's black-eyed peas fed her family every New Year for 12 Depression years. Each pea representing a coin, each bite representing hope that next year would bring actual money. Every spoonful carried message. Luck simmers from bones others discard. Prosperity starts with 1 pot of beans. Superstition feeds families when nothing else remains. Hope boils for 3 hours minimum. Would you believe beans could change your luck? Drop a comment. I'm reading every one. Number 2. Cabbage and bacon. Whole cabbage, bacon ends. That's it. January 1931, when cabbage cost 3 cents and bacon ends were free from sympathetic butchers who remembered better times. Frank O'Brien quartered his cabbage, placed it in boiling salted water. Added bacon ends, the burnt pieces, the odd scraps butchers couldn't sell. Boiled everything until cabbage turned tender, slightly sweet. He pulled cabbage out with a slotted spoon, arranged it on his serving plate. Poured some cooking liquid over it, that bacon fat glistening. Crispy bacon pieces scattered on top. During early Depression years, when unemployed men stood in bread lines daily, cabbage represented something powerful. Green meant folding money. Eating it New Year's Day meant prosperity coming. Desperation created meaning. That cabbage steamed on his table. Tender leaves, bacon-scented, simple as breathing. His children ate every bite, believing somehow this would make 1931 better than 30. Frank's cabbage tradition continued even after recovery. His grandchildren still boil cabbage every New Year, remembering when 3 cents bought hope, when bacon ends meant a butcher's kindness saved dinner. Every bite carried message. Prosperity grows from what costs almost nothing. Green leaves promise green dollars. Belief transforms cabbage into currency. Superstition boils until fork tender. Number 3. Poor man's soup. Potatoes, onions, flour. December 1934, when poor man's soup wasn't a cute name. It was accurate description. It was what you made when nothing else remained. Helen Kowalski peeled potatoes, the ones with soft spots cut away, the ones starting to sprout, diced them small. Chopped onion fine, fried it in tablespoon of lard until golden. She made a roux, adding flour to the lard, stirring constantly until it turned nutty brown. Added water slowly, whisking out lumps. Added potatoes, salt, pepper. Simmered until potatoes turned soft. Soup thickened naturally. During mid-depression, when families survived on $5 monthly, soup stretched impossibly far. One potato became 2 bowls. Flour thickened water into something substantial. Starvation postponed through kitchen alchemy. That soup simmered, potatoes breaking down slightly, creating creamy texture without cream. She ladled it into mismatched bowls, served it with stale bread for dipping. Hot, filling, enough, filling, enough. Helen's soup fed her family 3 times that New Year's week. Same pot, reheated daily, stretching further each time. Desperation taught mathematics ordinary times never revealed. 1 pot equaled survival. Every bowl carried message. Poverty demands creativity. Flour transforms water into substance. Survival simmers from what others would discard. Hope thickens slowly over low heat. If you're still watching, you understand. These weren't recipes. They were lifelines. Hit like if you see your family struggle here. Number 4. Cornmeal mush. Yesterday's breakfast becomes today's dinner. January 1932. When fried cornmeal mush meant something hot, when the cupboard held almost nothing else but cornmeal and yesterday's congealed pot. Robert Hayes boiled water with salt, whisked in cornmeal slowly, stirring constantly to prevent lumps. Cooked it thick, poured it into a loaf pan, let it cool overnight until solid as bread. Next morning, he sliced that solidified mush into half-inch slabs. Heated his cast-iron skillet with bacon grease saved from last week's splurge. Fried each slice until golden brown and crispy. During Depression years, when breakfast leftovers became dinner, mush represented efficiency perfected. Cornmeal cost pennies. Water was free. Yesterday's porridge transformed into today's fried delicacy through heat and patience. Dough slices fried crispy outside, staying soft inside. He served them with sorghum syrup if they had it, just salt if they didn't. Children ate them thinking it was something special, something planned. Robert's fried mush became New Year's morning tradition. Something hot, something that felt celebratory. Something made from yesterday's poverty, transformed into today's small victory through heat and hoping. Every slice carried message. Yesterday's desperation becomes today's meal. Transformation happens in cast iron. Poverty fried, crispy tastes like resilience. Hope solidifies overnight, fries golden at dawn. Number 5. Navy bean soup. Dried beans, ham bone, onions. December 1935, when navy bean soup meant New Year's dinner stretched across 3 days. When one pot fed everyone who showed up needing something warm. Martha Jenkins sorted through dried navy beans, removing small stones, rinsing them clean. Soaked them overnight. Next day, she placed her ham bone in the pot left over from Christmas if they were lucky. She added the beans, covered everything with water, brought it to a slow boil. Added chopped onion, bay leaves, black pepper. Simmered it 4 hours, beans softening into creamy texture, ham bone releasing everything it had. During mid-depression, when neighbors helped neighbors because government help came slow, bean soup became community. Her pot fed her family, and the Williamson kids next door, and old Mr. Chon upstairs. Everyone hungry. Everyone welcomed. That soup thickened naturally, beans breaking down, creating rich broth without cream or milk. She removed the ham bone, scraped off any remaining meat, stirred it back in. Every scrap counted. Martha's bean soup became New Year's tradition for her entire tenement building. People brought their own bowls. She ladled generously. Beans meant luck coming. Sharing beans meant luck multiplied. Mathematics of desperation and hope. Every bowl carried message. Dried beans feed multitudes. Generosity during poverty proves humanity survives. One pot becomes community. Hope simmers 4 hours, feeds everyone who comes. Would you have shared your only pot of soup? Or kept it for your family? Drop a comment. I want to know what you would have done. Number 6. Water pie water, flour, butter, sugar. January 1933, when water pie sounded like a joke until you tasted it. Until impossible chemistry created something sweet when sweetness seemed impossible. Louise Harper made her pie crust, pressed it into her tin, mixed water, flour, sugar, vanilla into thin batter, dotted butter pieces across the crust bottom, poured batter over everything. She baked it slow. Something magical happened in that oven. Butter rose through batter, sugar caramelized, flour thickened, water transformed into custardy filling that shouldn't exist but did. During Depression's depth, when eggs cost too much, when milk meant choosing between drinking and baking, water pie defied logic, science working when nothing else did. Hope baked at 325 for 40 minutes. That pie emerged golden brown, filling set but slightly wobbly. She let it cool completely. Cut into it revealed layers caramelized bottom, custardy middle, slightly crisp top. Tasted like butter and sugar, and believing in miracles. Louise's water pie became her secret weapon. Church potlucks, New Year's gatherings. Nobody believed water could become pie until they tasted it. Chemistry defeats poverty when you know the formula. Every slice carried message. Impossible things happen in hot ovens. Water transforms under right conditions. Poverty demands believing in chemistry. Hope bakes without eggs, without milk, without anything but faith. Number 7. Mulligan stew. Whatever you have, whatever you can find. December 1936, when Mulligan stew meant hobo food became family food because the line between them disappeared. Because everyone was one paycheck from nowhere. Thomas Murphy gathered what remained. 2 carrots, soft but usable. 3 potatoes, eyes cut out. Onion, turnip someone gave him. Can of tomatoes from relief office. Beef bone the butcher handed over free. He browned the bone in his pot, added water, simmered it. Added every vegetable chopped rough. Added can of tomatoes. Salt, pepper, bay leaf. Simmered everything until vegetables turned soft. Broth turned rich. During mid-depression, when hobos taught housed families survival skills, Mulligan stew crossed boundaries. Railroad camp food became tenement dinner. Shame dissolved when hunger hurt worse than pride. Everyone learned from everyone surviving. That stew bubbled slowly, vegetables breaking down, flavors melding into something greater than its parts. He added water twice, stretching it further. Mathematics of desperation. 1 pot becoming 2 meals becoming 3. Thomas's Mulligan stew fed his family New Year's Day, 1937. Same stew hobos made over campfires. Same stew that kept men alive riding rails. Same stew that proved survival knew no address, no status, no pride. Every bowl carried message. Survival erases class boundaries. What feeds hobos feeds families. Shame matters less than full stomachs. Hope simmers from whatever remains, however humble. If you're still here, you're tougher than most. These stories need telling. Comment which dish your family survived on. Number 8. Molasses stack cake thin layers. Molasses filling. Time. January 1934, when Appalachian stack cake meant New Year's hope literally stacked higher. When patience transformed poverty into something that looked like prosperity. Edna Campbell mixed flour, baking soda, molasses, lard, buttermilk into stiff dough. Divided it into 6 portions, rolled each thin as pie crust, baked them one at a time in her only pan. She cooked down dried apples with molasses, cinnamon, sugar, until thick as jam. Spread filling between each thin layer, stacking them carefully. Wrapped the whole thing in cloth, let it sit 3 days. During Depression years, when mountain families made do with what grew wild and what's stored dry. Stacked cake represented commitment. 6 thin layers meant stretching flour further. Waiting 3 days meant believing in delayed gratification. That cake aged, filling soaking into layers, everything melding together. By New Year's Day, those 6 thin layers turned into one moist, spiced cake that tasted like someone spent money they didn't have. Edna's stacked cake became her New Year's gift to neighbors. She made 3 every December, shared them knowing others shared back what they had. Poverty created economy of mutual survival through molasses and patience. Every slice carried message. Height means nothing if layers are thin. Time transforms poverty into richness. Waiting makes cheap ingredients taste expensive. Hope stacks higher through patience. Number 9. Fried salt pork with gravy. Salt pork, flour, water. December 1937, when salt pork cost less than bacon, kept longer, and fed families who couldn't afford waiting for sales or hoping for better times. William Brooks sliced salt pork thin, fried it in his skillet until crispy and brown. Grease rendered out more than seemed possible. He removed the pork, left the grease shimmering hot and ready. He added flour directly to hot grease, stirred it constantly until it turned golden brown. Added water slowly, whisking hard, watching gravy thicken. Salt from pork seasoned it perfectly. No additional needed. During late Depression, when recovery seemed possible and vanished again in 1937 recession, salt pork represented reliability. Didn't spoil. Didn't require ice. Survived in pantries through uncertainty. Rendered enough grease to make gravy stretch. That gravy bubbled thick and rich. He served it over biscuits if they had them, bread if they didn't. Crispy salt pork on the side. Hot, filling, grease-coating stomachs against cold and hunger. William's salt pork and gravy became New Year's morning tradition. Something hot before looking for work again. Something that made you feel fed. Something that cost almost nothing, but felt like breakfast should feel. Every bite carried message. Salt preserves more than pork. Grease becomes gravy through flour and faith. Poverty fried crispy sustains better than nothing. Hope thickens over medium heat, whisked constantly. Number 10. Potato pancakes, grated potatoes, onion, flour. January 1935, when German immigrant traditions fed families who'd forgotten their grandmother's new Depression survival before America learned. When old country poverty prepared them for new country collapse. Greta Schneider grated potatoes on her box grater, knuckles scraping occasionally, blood mixing with potato sometimes, but you kept grating. Added grated onion, flour, egg if they had one, salt. She heated lard in her cast iron skillet until it shimmered. Dropped spoonfuls of potato mixture in, flattened them with her spatula. Fried them until edges crisped brown and lacy, centers cooked through. During Depression years, when immigrant families survived better than American-born ones sometimes, potato pancakes proved poverty crossed oceans. Grandmother's recipes outlasted prosperity. Old country skills saved new country families. Memory fed people when markets failed. Those pancakes emerged golden brown, crispy outside, tender inside. She served them with applesauce if they had it, sour cream if someone had a cow, nothing but salt if that's all remained. Still delicious, still filling, still hope fried in lard. Greta's potato pancakes fed her tenement building every new year. Other families watched, learned, made their own. Immigrant food became American survival food. Borders disappeared when everyone was equally desperate and equally resourceful. Every pancake carried message. Old country poverty teaches new country survival. Memory outlasts prosperity. What grandmothers knew saves grandchildren. Hope grates knuckles raw, fries golden brown anyway. Would you grate potatoes until your knuckles bled? Would you keep going? Drop a comment. These stories need your voice too. Number 11. Dandelion salad. Free greens, hot bacon dressing. December 1938, when free meant more than cheap meant. When dandelion greens growing everywhere became new. Year salad because lettuce cost money and dandelions cost nothing but bending over. Clara Hayes picked dandelion greens from yards, roadsides, empty lots. Young leaves before flowers came. Washed them 3 times in cold water, removing dirt, grit, any bugs hiding in leaves. She fried bacon ends until crispy, removed them, left grease in skillet, added vinegar, little sugar, little water to grease. Heated it until bubbling. Poured hot dressing over greens, tossing quickly, wilting them slightly. During late Depression, when some recovery happened, but not everywhere, not for everyone, foraging continued. Free food growing wild meant stretching money further. Dandelions meant salad without spending. Dignity meant calling it salad, not weeds. Those greens wilted slightly from hot dressing, bacon pieces scattered across them. Bitter greens mellowed from heat and bacon fat. Vinegar brightened everything. Poor man's salad tasted rich as any restaurant could serve. Clara's dandelion salad became spring and New Year's tradition. Free food celebrated twice yearly. Her children learned which greens to pick, which to leave. Knowledge worth more than money when money disappeared repeatedly. Every forkful carried message. Free food grows everywhere if you know where to look. Weeds become salad through knowledge and bacon fat. Poverty teaches botany nobody learns in schools. Hope grows wild, requires only bending down. Number 12. Creamed dried beef on toast, chipped beef, white sauce, toast. January 1939, when military food became civilian survival food. When what soldiers called SOS fed families who needed something cheap that felt substantial. Dorothy Klein made white sauce first butter, flour, milk whisked smooth over medium heat. Added dried beef torn into pieces, that salty meat rehydrating in cream sauce. Cooked until thickened enough to coat the spoon. She toasted bread in her oven, dried it slightly so sauce wouldn't make it soggy immediately. Ladled creamed beef over toast, watching sauce soak in, creating something that looked almost elegant. During Depression's final years, when war loomed in Europe, dried beef became available cheap through government programs. Military surplus feeding civilian families. What soldiers complained about tasted luxurious to families remembering worse. Perspective changes when you've been hungrier. That creamed beef steamed on plates, white sauce coating everything, salty beef pieces visible throughout. She served it knowing it looked fancier than it cost. Appearance mattered when dignity hung by threads. Dorothy's creamed dried beef became New Year's brunch tradition. Something hot, something that looked restaurant quality, something that cost pennies but felt like spending dollars. Morale mattered. Appearances sustained spirits when spirits needed sustaining. Every bite carried message. Military rations feed civilians during collapse. Cream sauce transforms jerky into elegance. Presentation matters when poverty threatens dignity. Hope ladles over toast, soaks in slowly. Number 13. Prune whip. Stewed prunes, whipped egg whites, sugar. December 1936, when prune whip meant Depression-era elegance. When something light and sweet and beautiful proved poverty. Couldn't kill the desire for dessert that looked like dinner parties still existed? Evelyn Porter stewed prunes until soft, mashed them smooth, let them cool completely. Beat egg whites with a pinch of salt until stiff peaks formed. Folded in sugar gradually, then folded in prune puree gently. She spooned the mixture into her best dishes, the ones she'd gotten as wedding gifts before everything collapsed. Chilled them. That purple-pink fluff set light and airy, looking like something from a tea room. During mid-Depression, when maintaining dignity meant serving dessert, even when money disappeared, prune whip became elegant desperation. Prunes cost little. Eggs from backyard hens. Sugar stretched far when whipped with air. Chemistry created volume poverty couldn't afford. Those prune whips emerged from her icebox, looking sophisticated, light, pretty, something you'd serve at a party if parties still happened. Tasted sweet tart, cloud-light, refreshing after heavy beans and bread. Evelyn's prune whip became her signature New Year's dessert. Something beautiful on the table reminded everyone they were still civilized, still deserving of prettiness, still human, despite everything depression tried to strip away. Every spoonful carried message. Beauty matters during ugly times. Air whipped into egg whites creates volume prosperity can't buy. Elegance survives poverty when dignity demands it. Hope whips light, chills overnight, serves cold. If you're still watching, you see it now. These weren't just about food. They were about refusing to surrender completely. Comment if you understand. Number 14. Vinegar pie. Vinegar, sugar, eggs, butter. January 1937, when vinegar pie proved desperation creates the weirdest chemistry. When something that shouldn't work tasted mysteriously like apple pie without a single apple anywhere near it. Ruth Anderson made her crust, blind baked it slightly, mixed vinegar, sugar, eggs, melted butter, flour together, the smell sharp and wrong, making you doubt everything you knew about pie. She poured that questionable mixture into her crust, baked it slow. Something impossible happened in that oven. Vinegar mellowed. Eggs set custard-like. Sugar caramelized slightly. Wrong smells transformed into right ones. During 1937 recession within depression, when recovery vanished again, vinegar pie represented creativity bordering on insanity. No apples needed. No lemons required. Vinegar from the cupboard creating something sweet somehow. Magic or chemistry. Didn't matter which. That pie emerged golden. Filling set firm. Smell shifted from sharp to sweet tart. She let it cool completely. Cut into it revealed custardy filling that tasted impossibly like apples, spiced with cinnamon never added. Alchemy happened at 325 degrees. Ruth's vinegar pie became New Year's surprise. She never told guests what it was until after they'd eaten it. Watched their faces' disbelief that vinegar created this. Proof that impossible things happen when necessary. Every slice carried message. Desperation invents the strangest chemistry. What shouldn't work sometimes does. Impossible flavors emerge from unlikely ingredients. Hope bakes from vinegar, sugar, and believing it'll work somehow. Number 15. Pinto beans with cornbread, dried beans, fatback, cornmeal. December 1938, when Southwestern families ate the same New Year's meal they'd eaten every day for years. When tradition and necessity became the same thing. When beans meant survival, not celebration. Miguel Hernandez soaked pinto beans overnight, drained them next morning. Added them to pot with chunk of fatback, covered with water. Simmered them 3 hours until beans turned creamy, fatback rendered completely. He made cornbread while beans cooked cornmeal, buttermilk, lard, salt, baking powder. Poured it into hot cast iron skillet, baked it until golden brown and cracked on top. During late Depression, when Dust Bowl refugees flooded west, when Southwestern families shared what little they had with people even more desperate, pinto beans represented constant. Yesterday's meal, today's meal, tomorrow's meal. Reliability when everything else shifted like dust storms. Those beans turned creamy, broth thickened slightly, fatback flavor permeating everything. He served them with cornbread for soaking up liquid, maybe onion and chili pepper if they grew some. Simple, constant, enough to continue. Miguel's pinto beans fed his family and 3 Dust Bowl families camped nearby that New Year. Same pot feeding more people through portioning carefully. Beans stretched further than meat ever could. Mathematics of survival refined through practice. Every spoonful carried message. Constancy sustains when variety disappears. What you eat daily becomes what you celebrate. Sharing poverty multiplies hope. Survival simmers 3 hours, serves everyone who comes hungry. Number 16. Milk toast. Toast, warm milk, butter, sugar. January 1935, when milk toast meant comfort food for families with nothing left to comfort. When the simplest combination created something warm, when warmth felt impossible to find anywhere. Anna McCarthy toasted bread in her oven until golden and dry, buttered it while hot, placed it in a bowl. Heated milk not boiling, just warm, added sugar, pinch of salt. She poured warm milk over buttered toast, let it sit 30 seconds. Toast softened slightly, but held shape. Steam rose. Something about the simplicity felt like childhood, like being cared for, like everything might be okay eventually. During mid-depression, when comfort seemed like luxury nobody could afford, milk toast proved comfort costs almost nothing. Stale bread worked better than fresh. Milk stretched thin still worked. Sugar optional. Warmth mandatory for soul soothing. That milk toast steamed in mismatched bowls. She served it knowing it was more about warmth than nutrition. About feeling cared for. About mothers still doing something when doing anything felt impossible. About not giving up completely. Anna's milk toast became sick day food, sad day food, New Year's morning food. Something simple, something warm. Something that said someone still cared enough to heat milk, to butter toast, to serve it gently. Every bite carried message. Comfort requires only warmth and caring. Simplest foods soothe deepest hurts. Poverty can't eliminate tenderness. Hope soaks into toast, softens edges, still sustains somehow. Would your mother have made this for you? Would you make it for your children? Drop a comment. Tell me about comfort during hard times. Number 17. Mock apple pie. Ritz crackers, cinnamon, sugar. December 1934, when Nabisco invented pie filling from crackers, and families believed it because believing cost nothing. When mock meant just as good, meant good enough to survive another year. Helen Morris crushed Ritz crackers into her pie crust, made syrup from water, sugar, cream of tartar. Poured hot syrup over crackers, added cinnamon, dotted butter across top. Covered with top crust. She baked it until golden brown, syrup bubbling through vents. The smell cinnamon, sugar, something that suggested apples without containing a single one. Chemical trickery or desperate hope, either way it worked. During mid-depression, when Ritz crackers cost less than apples, when advertising promised miracles and families needed believing in something, mock apple pie represented modernity saving poverty, corporations creating solutions, America innovating through crisis, progress meaning fake fruit tasted real enough. That pie cooled on her counter. She cut into it, revealing crackers suspended in syrup, softened but holding shape somehow. Served it warm, tasted impossibly like apples never present. Texture, sweetness, cinnamon combining into memory of fruit they couldn't afford. Helen's mock apple pie became famous in her neighborhood. Everyone wanted the recipe. Nabisco printed it on cracker boxes. Depression-era invention that outlasted depression still exists today. Proof desperation creates lasting innovation. Every slice carried message. Reality optional when hunger hurts. Corporations sometimes help during collapse. Crackers become fruit through chemistry and faith. Hope bakes from anything, even saltines, even lies that taste true. Number 18. Lentil loaf. Lentils, breadcrumbs, onions. January 1936, when lentil loaf meant meatloaf shape without single ounce of meat. When form mattered because pretending normalcy helped families survive abnormal times. When appearance fed spirits meat couldn't. Dorothy Green cooked lentils until soft, mashed them roughly. Mixed in breadcrumbs, chopped onions, eggs, tomato sauce from government commodities. shaped it into loaf, placed it in her pan. She baked it until top browned and firmed. Loaf held together when sliced. Looked like meatloaf from distance. Close up, obviously lentils. But the trying mattered more than fooling anyone. Effort counted. Dignity required attempting normal. During mid-depression, when meatloaf symbolized normalcy, when families craved ordinary, when nothing felt ordinary, lentil loaf represented compromise. Shape of prosperity without substance of it. Performance of middle class despite sliding toward bottom. Appearance as survival strategy. That loaf emerged browned and substantial. She sliced it like meat, served it like meat, didn't apologize. Tasted earthy, hearty, filling, not meat. Not pretending to be. Just shaped like hope they'd someday afford real meat again. Dorothy's lentil loaf became her New Year's main dish. Something centered on the plate where roast should go. Something sliced and served with ceremony prosperity once commanded. Performance continuing despite poverty. Refusing to surrender completely to circumstance. Every slice carried message. Form matters when substance disappears. Shaped hope sustains spirits. Pretending normalcy helps survive abnormality. Dignity requires trying, regardless of ingredients available. Number 19. Tomato soup cake, Campbell's soup, spices, flour. December 1939, when tomato soup cake proved depression, created the weirdest baking experiments. When Campbell's Soup Company claimed soup could be cake and families believed because trying cost only one can. Margaret Sullivan mixed Campbell's tomato soup with flour, sugar, baking soda, cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves. Added raisins if she had them. Stirred it all together. That orange batter looking wrong, smelling strange, promising nothing good. She poured it into her pan, baked it slow. Kitchen filled with spice smells, masking tomato weirdness. Chemistry happened again, tomato acidity, reacting with baking soda. Creating rise and tenderness eggs should provide, but didn't. During Depression's final year, when war approached and everything was about to change again, tomato soup cake represented corporate America solving household problems. Condensed soup becoming cake ingredient. Modernity, meaning canned goods, worked magic. Progress tasting strange, but feeding families regardless. That cake emerged reddish-brown, spiced heavily, moist from soup's liquid. She frosted it with simple powdered sugar icing. Served it knowing nobody would guess tomato soup unless told. Secret ingredients staying secret by design. Margaret's tomato soup cake became her New Year's surprise dessert. Nobody believed her when she revealed the recipe. Campbell's printed it in advertisements. Depression desperation becoming post-war novelty. Crisis invention outlasting crisis itself. Every slice carried message. Desperation invents beyond logic. Corporations sometimes innovate during collapse. Tomato soup becomes cake through chemistry and advertising. Hope bakes from cans, spices, and believing corporate promises occasionally. If you're still here, you're part of keeping these stories alive. Share this with someone whose family survived depression. These memories matter. Number 20, New Year's Day, greens. Collards, turnip greens, pot liquor. January 1940, when New Year's greens meant last Depression New Year before everything changed. When folding money, symbolism mattered more than ever, because war jobs were finally coming. Because hoping finally had justification. James Robinson washed greens thoroughly. 3 changes of water, sand settling to bottom each time. Stripped tough stems away. Rolled leaves tight, sliced them into ribbons sharp knife could manage. He boiled them with ham hock, if he had one, bacon ends if he didn't, just salt if nothing else remained. Simmered them 2 hours until tender, pot liquor turning dark green and rich with minerals. During 1940, when defense jobs started hiring, when Depression's end finally seemed possible through war's terrible arrival, New Year's greens carried more hope than previous years. Folding money coming? Maybe. Finally. Through tragedy bringing employment. Complicated hope, but hope regardless. Those greens cooked down into silky ribbons. He served them with cornbread for soaking pop liquor. Hot sauce on the side. Vinegar for brightness. Every bite representing dollar bills coming, prosperity returning, depression ending, even if war brought it. James's New Year's greens fed his family every January 1st for 12 Depression years. 1940 marked the last truly desperate year. 1941 brought war jobs. Greens consumed that year tasted different hope finally mixed with justification, not just blind faith. Every bite carried message. Green leaves promise green dollars. Symbolism sustains when reality fails. Eating hope matters when hope is all remaining, but sometimes hope proves justified. Sometimes greens represent money actually coming. Sometimes superstition meets reality halfway. 20 meals, 10 Depression years. Countless New Year's tables where families ate almost nothing and called it celebration. Where hope cost pennies. Where survival meant believing beans brought luck, cabbage brought prosperity, greens brought folding money. These weren't just recipes. They were faith plated on chipped dishes. Superstition simmered into survival. The belief that next year had to be better because this year couldn't possibly be worse. Your great-grandparents ate these meals, made luck from dried beans, made prosperity from cabbage, made hope from whatever remained in the cupboard on January 1st. Which meal does your family still make? Which Depression tradition survived into your kitchen? Drop it in the comments. Share this with someone whose family survived the 30s. These stories matter. This history feeds more than bodies. It feeds understanding. Happy New Year. And remember, sometimes the cheapest meals carry the richest hope.